So, if you are or have ever been chronically ill or in chronic pain, it's really common and really understandable if you have this fantasy that there's like one single magic bullet out there that's going to make it all better. First, hi, I'm Jenny. I overcame years of debilitating chronic illness and now I coach women back to chronic wellness. So, again, today I'm talking about chronic issues, not discrete one off problems. I'm talking about mystery or chronic medical issues that drag on for weeks or months or even years. And when you're in that situation, you're desperate for answers, right? So of course you're going to start looking online, and what you're going to find are a lot of people promising miracle cures, of course, right? One supplement, one diet, one protocol, one guru who swears they have, like cracked the code. And listen, like I don't want to blame anyone for believing it, because when you're that sick, you want to believe it, you need to believe it. But what I can tell you is that it was pretty early on in my own healing crisis that bubble started to burst for me. Okay, this idea that there is one single cure, for my suffering, and it was like, devastating. I mean, because once you lose hope, how do you carry on? But eventually I started looking at it a different way because I started investigating um, different practices and protocols. I started making peace with the idea that, like, okay, maybe this thing that I'm trying won't fix everything, but what if it made me feel like, 10% better, or like 15% better? And then, what if this other thing that I'm thinking of trying makes me another 20% better? And then suddenly you're not chasing a miracle cure anymore, you're stacking improvements. Because the truth is, chronic illness isn't just about one thing going wrong in the body. It's multiple systems struggling at the same time, right? Your immune system, your nervous system, your endocrine system, inflammation, stress, environmental triggers, like it's a lot, right? So it makes sense that healing often requires more than one approach or modality. But the order of those modalities also matters. So, for example, in my own healing journey, I had what I called, my big three breakthroughs. And I was very lucky that I discovered the medical medium first, which for me was basically kind of like a tourniquet, okay? Like it stopped the bleeding, so to speak. But had I discovered Irene Lyon's work, which was my third big breakthrough, had I discovered her work first, not only would I not have been physically ready to do it, I also wouldn't have even understood like how it could help me. Like not really. Another thing that happens during healing is that the improvements can be really subtle at first. Okay, this is tough for a lot of people. It's not always dramatic. Maybe you're sleeping a little better, or maybe the brain fog lifts a tiny bit. Maybe you still crash out, but you recover faster than you used to. And those little improvements matter because those are the percentages adding up. Eventually, you end up building a whole toolbox of things that support your body, right? Maybe it's diet changes or nervous system work, or like emotional processing, environmental changes, supplements, excuse me, even like old school meds can work too. Whatever your thing is. And that toolbox starts to give you back your life. In my own healing journey, which I'm still very much on, by the way, I have incorporated a bunch of practices and modalities that have gotten me about, I'm going to say 80% better than I was when the shit hit the fan. But like, let's be clear, 80% better is a completely different life. And as I continue to discover new things to try, because I am, I'm fully aware that, I might not be quite ready for some of them yet, and that's okay. But the point is, the sooner you can make peace with the idea that there's probably not one single cure, but instead embrace this idea of healing by degrees and percentages, the more empowered you become. Because all those small improvements compound, and over time, they can add up to something that once felt completely impossible. So, if you or someone you know needs help navigating chronic illness, my information is in my bio.